Alright, so you've seen the title about the Tate brothers. So I've written a few points here, but I'll probably just ramble most of it like I usually do about why the Tate brothers are a good influence on young men. And it's a very controversial subject. To be honest, I can see why, but at the same time I don't, because I feel like a lot of their messages are very positive for young men. I think a lot of young men need to hear it, and I'm glad that they had the balls to go out and put themselves out there like that. And to be honest, they've taught me a thing or two as well. Listen, I'm gonna hit the classic line when it comes to the Tate brothers. I don't agree with everything they say and do, but they're happy. They're living their life to their fullest, and they're not harming anyone. So listen, if they offend you, get the fuck off my video. If not, I'm sure you'll enjoy this. So basically, the first point I want to say is like they show men what most men would want. Like I say most men because there's a small minority of men that wouldn't want this. Either the way they've been conditioned or their sexual preferences or whatever, but the whole idea of being rich as fuck, living in your own big mansion, loads of sports cars to choose from, beautiful women on demand, being a gentleman, being respected. Listen, if you're a man right now and you don't want that, you probably do. Oof, pardon me. And it's the thing for me is they give an example of masculinity to the world, and it like the world at the moment is, I don't know, it's quite, most of the world, especially if you watch television a lot, is quite feminine, and not in a negative sense. Well, in terms of like the way it harms masculinity, it is a negative sense, but feminine in itself isn't negative. It's just the way that everyone tries to push femininity down your throat, to be more emotional, to be thinking more of the good times and trying to enjoy yourself and the pleasures of the world. That's not innately a masculine desire in the world. Men enjoy it because men are attracted to the feminine, so they enjoy feminine things, which is that's why some men drink quite a lot, why they smoke, why they go out all the time, why they like to watch TV all the time, because it's soothing, it's relaxing. Men are attracted to that, but I don't think men are fulfilled by that. I say I don't think I know that men aren't fulfilled by that. And the messages that they spread all the time about what men need to be doing, they need to be on their purpose, they need to learn how to be a gentleman, how to be chivalrous, all these things that it doesn't get taught as much, and it's not pushed as much now, because you see a lot of relationship dynamics change, especially if you watch TV and stuff. Like a lot of the dynamics is that the woman is the masculine role and the man is the feminine role, so it's like whatever she says goes. Or like the classic line of, oh, maybe I'll come out if my wife lets me, or if my girlfriend says it's okay. And like men just not being in control of their own lives and being weak and being able to be battered around and told what to do. That's one thing I really like about the Tate brothers, is that they've got that traditional sense of masculinity where they are in control of their relationships and everything that they do. And I think that's a massively positive thing for men, to be in control of their own lives and not be swayed this way and that way whenever a woman says go, or whenever another man says go. They're not being submissive to life, to the universe. They see their direction, their purpose, and they strive towards it, and everything else falls off them like the water rolls off a duck. I don't know, that vivid imagery just came in my head, like, you know, when the water rolls down ducks' feathers and stuff, it's smooth and it's all waxy in it, you know what I mean? And there's also that thing about the way that they treat women. I know people think they're all misogynist and everything, but for me, all I see is the way that they promote being a gentleman, paying for dinners, opening car doors, opening doors at restaurants, seating the woman, like pulling the seat out, tucking it in, paying for the dinner, taking them home, make sure they're home safe, not try to force anything, but if it's on, then you know when it's on. Like, it's simple things like that they preach, but it gets overlooked because feminists are uncomfortable with masculine presences in the world. And I think it's the thing that I'll probably speak about in other videos as well, the thing that feminists especially and most of society push down on masculinity is because it's individual men thinking for themselves. When people are submissive, they're a lot easier to control. When a man just goes out and does what he wants, you can't control him, and that frightens people. But what frightens me is that people are trying to push this submissive role onto men, and then these men are depressed because they don't have any control of where their life is going, and then they kill themselves. But nobody speaks about that in Men's Mental Health Month, however many they want to have every year. Or Men's Mental Health Week, I swear that pops up every few months. It fucks me off because they don't really give a fuck. Literally the whole propaganda of Men's Mental Health Month is open up, be more emotional. That makes men more miserable. If a man is upset, if a man is depressed, you need to show him a direction in order for him to work towards being in a better place. That's how men work. It's not about being more emotional and opening up more. That is such a fickle way of solving a man's problem. Most of the time it makes the problem worse because then they start feeling sorry for themselves and they start being the victim in their own story. And then you can't pull them back from that and you continue this victim mentality. So that victim mentality stops them from trying to get better. And that's why men kill themselves. Because, this is how I've ended up. This is where I am. No, that's like the Tate brothers, they speak about this aggressively and I'm glad they do. Because it's something that I've thought for years. And I know a lot of my friends have thought the same way, and this is how we deal with our issues, before we even heard of the Tate brothers. And I suppose I've never had the balls myself before they spoke about it to speak about it in a public platform, in a public forum, and to actually stand behind that belief that if you're depressed, do something about it. Don't just sit about and be the victim. Think, why am I depressed? Okay, how can I solve that problem? If that problem's not solved, how can I find a solution? If you can't find a solution, speak to somebody. That's all right. You don't need to go and project it to the whole world. Tell them that you're struggling and you're fucked and your whole life's a mess and you're going to die alone or whatever. Speak to some, maybe do a bit of research online, go on YouTube or something, speak to your friends and let them come to a solution. It's not about, when you try and get something off your chest, it's not about just getting off your chest and then being sad about it. It's about getting off your chest and hope and asking for solutions. Sometimes getting off your chest, you find solutions yourself. You shouldn't be finding reasons to feel sorry for yourself. You should be finding reasons to fix what you don't like about yourself. That is the beauty of masculinity. And to be honest, I would encourage women to do this as well. Obviously, women are going to be more emotional, and that's fine. That's how your biology works, but you should still be seeking ways to find a solution to get better. And the Tate brothers push this very, very well, and I really, really like that. And another thing they do is they promote being courageous, not being scared of things. Everyone feels fear, but it's about pushing past fear and doing it anyway. I'll say a story. It sounds soft as fuck, and to be honest, it really is. But the other day, there's a snake in my bedroom. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my landlord, but he's not found somewhere to put it yet. So there's a snake in my bedroom in a cage, and me and my flatmate, we fed it a mouse, but we hadn't taken the skin that the snake shedded out of the cage. So when I come out of the shower, the snake ate the mouse, but its skin was underneath the mouse, so its skin was halfway down its throat, and it was choking and rattling about the cage and stuff. So I had to open the cage. I fucking hate snakes, so I really don't enjoy snakes. And I had to, I used a spatula. I wasn't going to sit and touch this stuff with my hand. That's probably the next level that I need to get to, and just being a bit braver. But instead, I got a spatula and pulled the snake's skin out of its throat. I've never been that close to a snake, and I did not enjoy it, but otherwise the snake would have died, and that's on me because I was the one who seen it. I'm not going to sit and watch an animal die because I'm too scared to try and get close enough to save the snake's life. Being courageous, men cower away from that a lot nowadays. and it's encouraged, like, oh, if you're scared, like, it's almost like seen as a joke, and it's funny, and oh no, I'm scared of this. Like, people joke about that shit all the time, and that, like, every time someone jokes about shit like that, just like something inside me just fucking cringes. And I've spoke about how cringe isn't a worthy endeavor in anything in life, but in that moment, like, I can't describe it as anything else. Like, people talk about, oh, I'm scared of heights, I'm not doing that. Like, just don't fall. Do it. Maybe put a harness or something. Like, try and face the fear. Be courageous in that and push forward, otherwise you can't improve. And the Tate brothers, they push that forward, and my favourite thing as well is that they show how to be strong in the society that I've just described. They show you how to strive away from, like, the simple pleasures, and yes, you can enjoy it, but how do you control it and work towards something worthwhile, and not just let life take over you, be caught up in the matrix, as they say. Right now I'm in the matrix. I can't say and do whatever I want. I might lose my job. I've got the rugby, I've got the job. If I say whatever the fuck I feel, what I want to do, I post random shit on social media. You've seen what happened to Israel Folau, a rugby player who spoke out about, well, I don't particularly agree with it, but in fact I don't agree with it, the fact that he doesn't support gay marriage or gay people in general. He put some quite homophobic stuff up on social media. He no longer plays rugby union professionally, or that might be incorrect. He might have picked up a contract in France now. I've heard there's word of him coming back, but his club in his country that paid for just said, no, you're not coming back. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to keep my job in that. Like, I genuinely think what he said about gay people is unacceptable. I don't think that's a positive attitude to have in the world. And obviously he claimed it was his religious beliefs, but I don't believe there's a religion that would like go against love. And that's just an example, but I'm in the like, I can't go and do whatever I want tomorrow because I have a job. Like, I'm not working tomorrow, but like, you know what I mean? Like, Tuesday I work next. I can't just do whatever I want on Tuesday. I have to go to work. I can't just not show up. Like, I'm being controlled by an external body, and that's what being in the matrix is. But then what the Tate brothers show is how to be strong and how to understand how the world works in terms of freedom, I guess, in terms of freedom of mind and doing what you want to do. Tate brothers are very good at showing that it is possible to escape the matrix and to be in a position where what you say doesn't affect your well-being or your finances or your state of living. Now, there's two ways I heard Andrew Tate say himself to escape the matrix. You either have all the money in the world that it doesn't matter because you've got all the money in the world, you're still going to be able to sustain yourself, or you've got absolutely no money where you can't be fired, you can't be fined, you can't be this and that. Like, you can do whatever you want and you're free, basically, because you don't have a home, you don't have anything to be taken away from you. And I resonate with both sides of the story. I prefer to be on the side of the story with the more money because I like nice food. I'm you know what I mean, I like nice things, but that's not everything in life, but it would be nice to enjoy it at some point. But I'm hoping if there is people that don't agree with Tate's messages and stuff that have watched this video, that they can kind of see like it is actually a positive influence on young men. And listen, he jokes around a lot and stuff and says some shit, but you know already a lot of the stuff's taken out of context, and the meaning behind all the messages and what stuff that he says is actually very positive and from a very wholesome place. And I believe if more men are like the Tate brothers, then the world's probably going to be a better place. Not really got much else to say. I'll see you in the next video.